Alf, would you look at that? I'm not the only one talking until they're blue in the face about how this sports card hobby/industry is just diving too far deep into the gambling ocean that is the sports card breaking and the razzing and the repack world that we all live in. I'm going to push back on a couple of different thoughts that I've heard from one of my buddy content creators, Neo Cards and Comics, put out a video, I think last week or something about this. Basically, like, there are no more collectors. It was a doomsday title, something like collectors are gone and all there is just gamblers in the hobby, which I think that sometimes it does feel like that. However, I think that there's another side to that story. There's a lot more going on, and I just think that the ecosystem is very, very large. I also had a comment here recently that said, hey buddy, if you take the repackers and the breakers out of the space, then sports card interest is zero. Nobody cares about it. So we're going to also talk about that as well. But before I deep dive, huge thanks to today's video sponsor, Pristine Auction. $25 off your first auction victory over there with the SCD promo code. And yeah, they've got sports cards, they've got sports memorabilia. If you want to consign over there, Pristine, they'll give you a special deal if you mention the sports card dad. Take advantage of the daily auctions, weekly auctions, the elite monthly auctions over there, Pristine. All sorts of good stuff going on, so make sure to check it out. Also, if you're a first-time PSA submitter, prices have gone up a little bit. If you want to take advantage of $25 off your first order over there, one card minimum to try out PSA. It is SCD25 code at the shipping and billing screen. Take advantage of the PSA promo code. So I think that some people have gotten just so used to the current ecosystem.
School's closed. It's a holiday, you dumbasses.
That they think that, man, if you take one of these things away, if you take repacking away, if you take breaking away, that everything's going to shut down and everything's going to stop and everything's going to go to zero. I actually don't agree with that really at all. I think it's just a function of just switching things over, just redirecting hobby dollars and just training people otherwise. We've just been in basically a hobby funk where we have been promoting, and this goes back to the manufacturers as well. Michael Rubin said 40%, his own words, 40% of new product goes to breakers, but then wonders why collectors don't feel served at times by a Fanatics or a Topps. It's interesting. It's a funny thing that keeps on happening. And really what this is just too much of the new product, too much of the emphasis is on breaking. Look, from a manufacturing standpoint, I understand why they do it. It's free marketing. It goes right on to Fanatics Live and they open it up and they scream and cry and roll on the ground. And oh my God, we got a huge hit. We got a purple unicorn patch numbered out of 7. I get it. I understand all that. And there is a place, I think, in this hobby for breaking. Absolutely. Does it need to be 40 to 50% of new product going out? It needs to go out. That needs to be distributed that way. That is extremely limiting for new collectors coming in, people that have been used to opening up boxes at certain prices, used to being able to get a hold of product without having to dive into a gambling carnival game, duck race bullshit type scenario. It used to not be like this. It's been about the last 10 years, and then over the last 5, we're on hyperdrive now. Now we're on hyperdrive, where everything is a derivatives trade. You flip a coin. Let's flip a coin and see if it's going to be $100 or $5. Everything is a stupid bet. But like I said in the beginning intro, there's one guy that does agree with me, and he's not just a YouTuber. He's not a guy like me that just got back in 2018 in the collectible space. Nope. It is none other than Rob Veras, who's owned a 40, 50-year plus business, multi-generational card shop in California. One of the most respected hobbyists and industry people. It's Rob Veras, owner of Burbank Sports Cards. And I think that we need to pay a lot more attention to what he is doing over there on the West Coast. Let's roll this clip to show you what Rob had to say going back a few days ago.
What's also coming along in a big kind of way is the single systems for the new place. And you guys have been hearing me talk about it, yada, yada, yada. But you know what my goal with this whole thing is? Is simply to give people an option when spending their hard-earned money in this business, and maybe going away from that fleeting moment of opening a product or being involved in a break and to building something long-term and being able to go somewhere and get this satisfaction that simply is lacking in the industry right now. My goal here is to show you a completely different way to engage with this wonderful hobby of ours. And I think that the reason that the loudest mouths out there can get away with all this fractionalization is people haven't seen the alternative. They just haven't seen it yet. And We are going to bring that alternative to bear. And what I'm hoping, as we've done with many things in this place, is what we are building will be something that others are going to want to look to replicate. Because what you're going to see from a demand side here that we'll be capturing content-wise will be something that'll be expected across the country. And this is the way. We need to get people off the gambling kick, and we need to get them into the collecting kick. Because again, I got my son, I got my daughter. I want this industry to be just as vibrant a decade or two or three down the road as it is today. And in order to do that, we need folks to actually engage with cards, collect cards, and have that multi-generational aspect. Because you know what? If you are a father or a mother and you're into breaking and you see the results of it long term, are you going to encourage your kids to get in this with them breaking as well? I certainly hope not. What I would encourage, though, is if they have a passion for a certain player, collect that player. Maybe it's 10 or 15 cool cards that they could put into their collection and be able to branch out from there. That's how you build longevity in this. I see a lot of things that don't build longevity in this business, and I'm going to fix it. I have made this my personal mission to show people that you can spend $50 for a fleeting moment to get $15 return, or you can spend $50 and get 50 cards of your favorite player. How cool is that? Yadier Molina, I got a box for him. Why? He's stupid popular. Will Clark, got a box for him. Buck a piece will go back basically till his rookie year. That's exciting.
So you heard it there. And this is a guy that owns a card shop that has thousands and thousands of customers coming in every week, every month, new people coming in. So he is very concerned about those people coming back. And he's the guy that has said, hey, look, when you have a fractionalized model where someone's entering into a break and 80 to 85% of those people are walking away unhappy or coming away with nothing, with no cards whatsoever, is that a long-term sustainable business model? So you earn a new customer. If you're any industry, if you're any business on planet Earth, you want them to have a good experience. And with the clip of how many people lose on breaks and razzes and repacks, you better be entertaining as all hell. You better be the most entertaining dude on the planet or dudette to bring these people back. And I think that we do have some entertaining folks in the space, so give credit where credit is due. And I think that a lot of it, though, is really it's high rollers that really keep this thing going. There is high rollers, I know this because breakers have told me this, where you got a handful of clients that spend 80% of the money. It's kind of the 80-20 rule. You've got 80% of the money being spent by your whales that come in on these breaks. And then you've got, the other 20% is a lot of people that come and go. And you got to just make sure that you keep your whales happy so that they keep on spending with you. That is how I understand how a lot of these breakers just continue on and keep doing it. They understand that there's going to be a lot of turnover, just like in any business. But this is turnover like you go to the carnival, you've got like the ring toss, and like, look, some people are going to win, most people are going to lose. And you just have to get enough new people in to try the ring toss once a year when the fair's in town. But it's just not sustainable long term. This will not be the way that the hobby actually does grow, that it does 10x. It's not through gambling. That is the stupidest thing that I have ever heard. Because the backside of this, and stuff I've already heard of, frankly, is the bankruptcies and the divorces that are the end result of people that aren't able to control themselves. And I know what you're going to say. Again, personal responsibility. Everyone is able to spend their money however they want to. 1,000%. Everybody is allowed to spend their money however they want. However, the manufacturer gets to choose how product is actually distributed. If I go to a card shop and my options are either, okay, I'm buying from the card shop, I'm buying a whole box, or I'm buying through a break because there's not really any direct-to-consumer options for the new product, that's kind of an issue. It's either, okay, I'm buying the expensive hobby box, which, okay, fine, or I have to buy into a break. There's not any sort of direct-to-consumer out of this. There's not 10, 15, 20% of the new product that goes out to the email list at Fanatics Topps or Panini. Why? Well, it's because the manufacturer just makes a lot more money doing, if it's Panini, it's a reverse Dutch auction, or if it's Fanatics Topps, it's like, why aren't we giving this to breakers where like free marketing for them to go and scream on the screen and get everybody excited about it? I understand from a business standpoint, but not everything has to be about the bottom line. It can also just be, you know what? Let's reward the guys and gals that have been in the hobby opening boxes for 10, 15, 20 years that over the last 5 years have been completely wiped out. Because hobby boxes now, that used to be $150, are now $500 because they're wrapped into a fractionalized braking system. I know, crazy talk, right? Crazy that you would want collectors to be able to get a direct shot at being able to buy a box. It should be as simple as this. Instead of 40% going to breakers, 15 to 20%, you have 72 hours. It goes out to the general public. Who's on the mailing list? Who's been a Topps customer before, Fanatics customer? Goes out to the mailing list. You've got 72 hours to buy your box at a discounted rate because you're a great customer. We appreciate you here at Topps. And this is what keeps people in the game. It also keeps it affordable for young people. My God, Topps Fanatics, all about the young people and getting the young people in. Well, make it affordable for more young people by having those direct access. Have the direct access. Have 10, 15, 20% of the print run of whatever that Topps product is. Look, if you've got high-end stuff, fine. Maybe that's like a breaking product. It's real high-end. Maybe you're not doing it here. But for the regular old stuff, just have the mailing list, have it go out, and so that people, average Joe people, can get a shot at it. And hey, look, if it doesn't sell out direct to consumer through the mailing list, because that'll eliminate the bots, because it's going through a mailing list, and it's limit 2 per household per shipping address, then that goes to the breakers. Then, hey, you know what? It didn't sell. It's going to the breakers. And then the general public can't complain because you know what? We had our chance. I didn't get to the email in time. That's my bad. Burbank, as Rob had said, it's his life mission to set up a singles system where they are selling singles all the way down to 25 cents a card and up, of course. And they're going to have a whole library of cards, players, that you're going to be able to get in, put in your binder. It's really what's happening in Pokemon right now. Most of Pokemon, guys, there's people walking around. It's young people. It's affordable. They can get in. Look, a really expensive booster box for Pokemon cards coming out is $200 coming out. Maybe you're paying $250. They have 36 packs in them. This is why the Pokemon market continues to roar. It is because it is affordable for anybody. It's $3, $4, $5 a pack. Yes, the more expensive packs are $10. For the sets that are in super high demand, absolutely. But for the most part, you've got affordability in the Pokemon space. You also have affordability in the single space for sports cards. It's just not enough people talk about it. I'm always yelling from the rooftops on this channel, buy the singles, look into the singles. Oh, it's a new product coming out. Great. Let everybody open it up and it goes right to eBay. It's going to hit eBay within days. There's a new Stranger Things release that just came out. A bunch of people asked me, hey, did you buy into that? And I was like, it's high tech, cool looking set, cool looking Stranger Things set. There's already tons of the autographs. They're all over eBay. They're all over there. If I want to buy them, they're right there. I don't need to buy into a break. I don't need to. All of the options are right there for me. There's tons of them. I'm not really interested at this stage because I've got all the stuff that I really need. I've got the early stuff that I've been looking for on the Stranger Things side. I've got 2 cards from the 2018 set that I'm looking for. So that new high-tech set is just not a huge priority for me right now. I've just got other priorities that I'm going after. But again, when we look at Fanatics, Topps, Panini, everyone keeps talking about collectors. How can we serve the collectors? They've done a lot of good things for sure, but a big way that you can serve the collectors is really put Burbank Sports Cards, who you just brought on. Burbank, and this is kind of an interesting thing. And my God, I hope that Burbank and Rob Veras, I hope they can influence the Fanatics Topps people, because I know that Fanatics Topps, they're crunching the numbers. They're trying to figure out how do we add more collectors to the space. I've been hearing it from different reps there, as well as other people that deal with Fanatics. How can we bring in more collectors? Well, you've got literally like an inverse thing between the gambling and the collecting thing. Those things don't typically go together. One person's just chasing a lotto ticket. The other person is trying to add their favorite player to put in their binder, to put in the top loader. Just like I was. Look, people think that there are no collectors in the space, and it's just not true. They're just not highlighted. Social media does not highlight the young people that have a binder full of David Robinson cards or a binder full of Ohtani cards or whatever. Doesn't always have to be a graded. Doesn't always have to be, some $1,000, $1 million card. Doesn't have to be a Paul Skeens 1-of-1 debut patch. But that stuff does not make it onto social media. So the assumption is when I turn on sports card, whether it's YouTube or IG or Twitter, it is all about a break, a hit, a new product thing. It is not about collectors and the collections that they have built outside of little pockets here and there. And I give credit even to like a Jeff Wilson does, I think it's called SLABS. Those are more high-end collections though. And I understand why he does that. It's kind of that the lifestyle of the rich and famous. People want to see those things. It's cool seeing, somebody that's got multi-million-dollar collection. So I understand that content, but again, none of the people, the average Joe collector, which makes up 95% of this hobby, the people that are going through dollar boxes at all these card shows aren't slammed because people are going to buy $10,000 cards there. That is not why they're slammed. They're slammed because people go there to buy cards of their favorite players. So there are plenty of collectors out there at all different price points, but the manufacturers have to really kind of tweak how they're distributing all this new product, and they need to tweak the messaging. They got to figure it out because this, as I've said and as Rob Veras has said, not sustainable long term to have this be a huge entry point for hobby people. It's just the truth. Yes, can we have some of that? Sure, absolutely. I think breaking is here to stay. Everyone keeps saying that. Breaking is here to stay. Sure, but it doesn't need to be 80% of the hobby. That's fucking stupid as hell. It's so stupid. Like, actually, if you're going to talk about collectors and bring out new collectors, and we need new collectors, I just saw Tom Brady open up his card vault store, and it's all about, he's showing his binder of cards that he had going back in time and the nostalgia and everything that goes with it. Card Vault is a high-end store. But again, if Tom Brady is going to also kind of push that, and look, Tom Brady's all about young people, the next gen. I was there. I witnessed it at Topps Rip Night at New York Met Stadium going back last year. He came in there. He was trading cards with young people. It's all about young people, the next gen, being able to open packs. It shouldn't be that you got to go to a Topps Rip Night to be able to afford a pack or hope that you get some free packs. You got to go to the Topps Rip Night for that. There's got to be better ways to do this. So please, industry people, look at what Rob Veras and Burbank Cards is doing with their card shop. Copy it. Copy it, promote it. Promote the hell out of it. Man, I hope, again, Burbank made a deal with Fanatics Collect. They're moving a lot of their stuff off of eBay over to Fanatics Collect. I really hope that Fanatics, and also I think Burbank is going to try to do a lot more of their social media content is going to be around people in those singles boxes. I'm certain of it. I'm absolutely certain that they're going to do a lot of content of different people collecting, a person going in there and wanting cards of their favorite player, getting 50 cards for $50. This whole idea that, low end, mid end, dollar cards are trash. Look, dollar cards, 50-cent cards, $5 cards, $10 cards, that is the meat and potatoes. That is the actual foundation, the heartbeat of this entire thing is that. So until we finally get that and finally start doing something about it, it'll be the same stupid, we'll go down this road, and guess what won't happen? It won't 5X, it won't 10X. It'll be a lot of me doing stories on people that are now bankrupt and their life fell apart and they lost $250,000 in gambling products. I'm happy to make the content. I'll be ready for it. This is not what I grew up with, and I understand that change is change and the industries change. I get all of that. I understand it. I'm an old man out here now. It's a new world. But the same fundamentals of what people have been doing, collecting cards going back decades, it still applies today. The world changes. That doesn't necessarily mean it changed for the better or it's changing for the better. It might be going down a weird path. So it's up to us to actually say something about it, not just follow along. Oh, okay, well, I guess this is what we're doing. No, well, that's not what I'm going to do. All right, friends, stay healthy, stay awesome, and I will talk to you again later.